Hello everyone and welcome to my little corner of the internet. My name's Michael and I'm bitten by a radioactive book. As 2014 comes already to an end, or has already ended in fact, I'm going to have a special book tag today. It's the 2014 book tag that was originally created by Anna the Word Nerd. Yeah, I think that's it. And I was tagged by Harriet Rosie, so thank you very much Harriet for tagging me. If you're not already subscribed to Harriet, please check out her channel. She's like a lovely booktuber with very diverse reading tastes, and yeah, you really should check her out and subscribe to her. The tag is of course about my reading year 2014, so that will be kind of serve as like a wrap up maybe for the whole reading year, so I hope that's going to be interesting. Question 1 is, what was your favorite book published in 2014? For me that was City of Stairs by Robert Jackson Bennett. It was like overall my book of the year. It had like a great combination of characters, plot, and world building setting. It was nearly like the perfect book. It had like a female, middle-aged, non-white main character. That was something that a lot of other authors like talking about, that we need more of that, and Robert Jackson Bennett wrote a book with a character like that. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book, highly recommended to almost everyone. So City of Stairs by Robert Jackson Bennett is the answer for that question. Number 2, pick a book you read this year that had great characterization. I could pick City of Stairs again, but I don't want to bore you with rehashing the same book over and over again, so I'm going to take Bloodsong by Anthony Ryan. This is a coming-of-age story. If you've seen my top 5 books of 2014 video, that is a book that is in there as well. And the characterization, especially of our main character and only POV, Valen Alsona, a boy who is sent to a military religious order to become a warrior of faith, is very, very good. It's spot on and it's a real page turner. It has a lot of good pacing and the characterization there is really great. So I picked Bloodsong. Question 3 is, speaking of characters, who is your favorite character from the books you've read this year? That is kind of a match-up. There is Shara Tivani, the main character from City of Stairs, of course, and to put in my maybe favorite male character in there as well, it's the god Lightsong from Brandon Sanderson's Warbreaker. He is really, really cracking me up. It's just a great character, because when you have like a god who doesn't really believe in himself, in his godhood, that is kind of interesting, and I really loved his kind of humor and how all his dialogue is hilarious. So it's Lightsong from Warbreaker. Question 4 is, who's your least favorite character of the year? Again, I'm going with male and female. For a female character, that would be Brack from Ancillary Justice. It's she is kind of an android. I'm not going into the specifics of what she actually is, because that is part of the plot of Ancillary Justice. I didn't connect to her with at all on any level. I was very detached from her. I wasn't just interested in what happened to her. So yeah, nothing really worked for me on her character side. And for a male character, that would be Kip from The Black Prism by Brent Weeks. I think humor is always very subjective, and Kip is a character that comes a lot, is very connected to his unique kind of humor, and that kind of humor didn't work out for me, and I'm terribly bored, I would say even annoyed by the trope of the orphan boy with a great destiny. I've just read that too many times in my life, and Kip is yeah, just another example that doesn't stand out for me in a positive way, and therefore, yeah, his character kind of failed for me completely. Question 5 is, pick a book you read this year that had a shocking plot twist. Yeah, of course I'm going to not going into any details of the kind of plot twist, but The Republic of Thieves by Scott Lynch had a revelation that shook up the series, I think quite a bit, and yeah, that was really interesting. Question 6 is, name a great author or multiple authors you discovered this year. Again, for this I'm going to pick Robert Jackson Bennett, who wrote The City of Stairs, but also Anthony Ryan, that wrote Bloodsong. I discovered him this year as well. Michael J. Sullivan, who wrote the Rhaeria Revelation series, is another author I discovered this year. Mark Hodder is an author I discovered this year that was really great. His Burton and Swinburne series, starting with The Strange Affair of Spring Heel Jack, yeah, really came through for me. Another author would be James Marshall with his hilarious Ninja vs. Pirate featuring zombies book. Yeah, there were just a lot of great authors I discovered this year. Question 7 is, what book that was really hyped up in 2014 do you think met the hype? A book that was hyped up, maybe not if we look into YouTube circles, that is very focused on YA fiction, but in the science fiction and fantasy community, one of the books that was really hyped up, or I take two books actually. One is a science fiction book. It's The Three-Body Problem by Xijin Liu. It's like one of the best-selling series of China, and the first installment was translated into English this year, and I've read this with a couple of other booktubers, and I really enjoyed that book, and I'm really looking forward to going back to that universe later this year when the second installment comes out. The second book would be The Mirror Empire by Cameron Hurley. This was also talked up a lot due to its yeah, switching of male and female roles, but also with its very imaginative world building and plot structure that is yeah, very much different from a lot of other like more typical fantasy books, and that worked for me as well. Not as good as The Three-Body Problem, so The Three-Body Problem was a 5-star read for me, and The Mirror Empire was a 4-star read for me, but overall I think both books qualify for this question because they were very hyped up before I read them, and they met that kind of hype for me. Question 8 is, did you see any book-to-movie adaptations this year? If so, what was your favorite? Actually, no. Or, I think I bought the Blu-ray for the second Hobbit movie, and I felt like, yeah, nice about it. But that is the only book-to-movie adaptation I saw this year. Question 9 is, what book made you cry the most? None. Simple as that. Question 10 is, what is the funniest book you've read this year? Yeah, that prize would go to Ninja vs. Pirate featuring zombies by James Marshall. It was just a hell of a ride, and I laughed really loud a couple of times. That doesn't happen to me too often, so I was really surprised by that. And on the surface it seems to be like a really juvenile kind of book and humor, but if you look behind it, it has very interesting social commentary about how we deal with political correctness in our society, with minorities. That was like really interesting to read about, and it was a very clever and humorous book. Question elf is elf. I'm going to leave that in because elf is not the creature in German. Elf is the number 11. So question 11 is, did you set a reading goal for yourself? If so, did you meet it, and how many books did you read this year in total? I've set a reading goal last year. I set it to 75 books. I did not meet that, mostly due to that in the first half of the year I was more into gaming, and I've read maybe like only 10 or 15 books in the first 7 or 8 months this year, and I still finished up at 56, so the end of the reading year was really good for me. So yeah, I'm not terribly like devastated that I didn't meet the whole thing. Yeah, and I'm really satisfied with the 56 books I've read, because most of the time the quality was really good and they were entertaining. Question 12 ties in a little bit to that what I've already talked about, was 2014 a satisfying reading year? And I would say yes, it was, for many reasons. The most prominent one, because I started BookTube, and through BookTube I met a lot of people, was made aware of some series that maybe weren't that high up in my TBR abyss, got overall more back into reading. As I said, in the first half of the year I was more into gaming, so being a booktuber, meeting people, talking to people, watching videos brought me more into reading, and I read way more towards the end of the year, and hope that will continue in 2015. So overall 2014 was a very satisfying reading year for me. Question 13 is, what are you planning to do differently or better in 2015? I talked about this already lengthily in my reading goals video for 2015. I want to read more in this year, and more just means I want to read like constantly or regularly, because as I said last year, it was like a divide between the year between gaming and reading, and I really want to have that kind of reading continuously. I hope to read like 2 books a week on average, so I set my goal to 100, even though I didn't meet my 75 goal last year, but that is one of the things I'm going to do, and one of the things that will hopefully help me with this is a lot of buddy reading. If you've seen my January TBR video yesterday, you will see that I'm actually doing like a lot of buddy reads this month and also in the upcoming month, so I hope that will keep me reading, and these are the things that I'm going to or want to improve next year, or this year. It's already 2015. And question 14 is actually a question I already answered, so just get this over with really quickly. It's the question, what is the best book you've read this year? And as the best book I've read this year is also a book that was released in 2014, we're going back full circle to the beginning of the video. It's City of Stairs by Robert Jackson Bennett. So that's it from me, as this is like a wrap up of 2014. I'm not going to tag anyone specifically. If you also want to use that to give a late wrap up of your reading year, feel free and feel tagged. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button. If you want to see more of me, subscribe to my channel. If you want to know what's coming up on my channel, please look inside the description box. There's a little segment there called On the Horizon. I wish you a good day and hope you get bitten by a really good book too. Bye.